The winter 2017 anime comedy series Gabriel Dropout is at its core a show that gets most of its laughs by subverting expectations. It proposes the simple question of what if angels acted more like demons, and if demons acted more like angels. Following Gabriel, Gab for short, a model student and angel trainee in heaven who transfers to an earthly traditional Japanese high school in order to better learn about humanity firsthand. But it doesn't take too long for her to become corrupted thanks to the addiction of MMORPGs and microtransactions, and after a brief cutaway, we've seen Gabchan's personality do a complete 180. She's lazy, unmotivated, messy, a complete slob. The series follows the comedic antics of this newly disinterested Gab alongside Vignette, the demon with a heart of gold, Raphi, the sadistic angel, and Satania, the egotistical mischief maker. While it seems like the basic premise of the angels being more demonic than the actual demons may get old after a few episodes, the show never really relies on it too much. It's used to get the joke about halfway there, but the somewhat above average writing and great character reactions are the actual punchline in themselves. For example, one of my favorite jokes comes from the first OVA, in which we see our characters at a bathhouse, and it pokes fun at how nudity is handled in airing series, whether it be through steam or random beams of light. Our two angels literally have rings of light around their exposed bodies, and Satania has a hazy fog of darkness, and they all pay reference and attention to this. This alone is hilarious, but Gabriel Dropout does a great job at building on jokes, and with that out walks Vignette in a heavenly glow of a nearly godlike level, enveloping literally her entire body. Most jokes properly stack and build onto each other, and I find myself doing something I usually don't do while I watch a comedy anime, and that is laugh. It may sound stupid to watch a genre where the whole intent is to make you laugh and not laugh, but hear me out. It doesn't make me appreciate the comedy any less, it's just that certain jokes handled for Japanese viewers and reading said jokes through subtitles doesn't always have the same effect as watching something really funny on American television, like Full House, for example.
This morning after you went to school, we went to wake up a Puli. Michelle, he died in his sleep last night.
Gets me every time.
What?
So the series that make me literally LOL are ones I usually think pretty highly of. It doesn't mean they're masterpieces of their craft or perfect anime by any means, they're just entertaining and fun. So keeping in mind that the show as a whole is focused and built around subverting expectations, let's take a look at the second OVA of Gabriel Dropout and how it affected me in such a way to want to make this video. It came coupled with one other special in the Blu-ray release, and the first OVA was pretty by the books. It was the bathhouse episode I mentioned earlier, so the expectation is for the other special to follow the same similar antics we've seen throughout the 12 episodes before it, and it made sense. But then again, Gabriel Dropout subverts expectations. We open on our quartet of protagonists who are taking part in their normal antics. Raphi is harassing Satania, Satania is suffering from her normal dog-related incidents, Vignette is busy being the best girl, and Gab is gabbing. All of this seems to stop in its tracks when they run into a nearly blind girl who mistakes the characters for angels. Of course, then this tone shift is instantly cut off and turned by the chaotic opening of the show.
It's a bit hectic!
This nameless girl, who is just referred to as Shoujo in the specials information, mistook our characters for angels because she usually has a hard time making out people and figures, but for whatever reason our cast stood out in somewhat of a heavenly light surrounding them. The straight-edged, earnest character, while at first seemingly clashes with the group's ideologies and overall expectation for the other side characters they've encountered thus far, but we see in the next scene that even Gab was overcome by this girl's warmness and delivers her a hot tea. There's also a clever bit shortly after where we see that Gab is actually the fourth person to visit, as Shoujo goes through the various other gifts that were given to her, ranging from a cushion given by Raphi to melon bread given by Satania. That in itself is a nice little note. Throughout the series, Satania mentions her love for melon bread in just about every other episode, and more often than not, the dog ends up stealing it from her. So to see Satania give up something so precious to her, and the OVA to not only dwell on it, shows a decent level of respect to the characters and the viewers, and also makes Satania's later scenes a bit more justified. But we'll get into that later. The entire scene and just about the entirety of the OVA itself is also accompanied by these more subdued piano pieces, which is a drastic change from the bombastic deets and doots that make up the rest of the OST. As Gab is leaving and tossing away her can, which ends up missing the trash bin, we expect her to simply pay it no mind and walk off in typical Gab-like fashion, just like we've seen in the very first episode. But Shoujo clearly already has a substantial impact on not only Gab, but all the other characters. Later revisiting the girl, our characters are in shock to overhear that the middle school girl was struck by a car. We then get the surprisingly well done dramatic scene in the hospital where Satania is absolutely crushed and not understanding why people that call themselves angels cannot even help. bit dark. There's actually some real weight to this, and it also helps play around with the idea that angels and demons aren't so different after all, the point the show's been pushing across the entire time, just in a more fun and comedic way. It's explained that despite God loving everyone, it also means that no one should be loved or put above everyone else. The love in itself is equal. However, as the girl is dying in the operating room, Gabriel shows up in angel attire and all and uses literal divine intervention to not only save the young girl's life, but also give her back her vision. And while everything seems all fine and good as the girl wakes up able to see her parents for basically the first time in years, we then get this rather imposing rooftop scene in which Raphi explains to Gabriel the implications of her actions. Gabriel is then lifted off by a divine light to await her punishment. So, what happens? You might be asking yourself, well, what's the joke, or where's the punchline here? Well, there really isn't one. Gabriel Dropout as a series is nothing special. While at its core it's a series that subverts expectations of angels and demons and never really goes out of the way to shake up the genre itself, but then again, it's not really trying to. So why was this episode made? Where's the comedy in it? Well, I guess the funny part is that there really isn't any, and it seems more of a simple way to surprise the fans who purchased the Blu-ray, and that action alone of pretty much going out of your way as an animation studio to turn your silly, dumb comedy anime into a 16-minute thought piece about morality, helping your better man, the unfairness and cruelness of the world, and understanding not every good deed is immediately apparent, is in itself the joke, and the punchline is the viewers who were expecting more dank Satania memes, and instead were just left with nothing but existential questions. Yeah. Hey, it's Anigami, and when I'm not tearing up about cute little blind middle school girls getting in car accidents, I make various videos here on YouTube, so feel free to stick around a bit and check some out. Appreciate the support.